This is my story, my firsthand account of how I escaped my abusive narcissistic mother. I'm currently on the path of healing and recovery from this toxic abuse that I suffered my whole childhood and in my early adulthood. Before I tell you my story, I want to give praise to Christ. I want to give all glory to the Most High in heaven, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel, because the Most High, He's been helping me on my path. And He put on my spirit that He wants me to tell my story to other people so they can have motivation, determination, and also they could gain healing with Him. Because in this type of family structure, you will have to go no contact. There's no other way around it. Some people are more fortunate and more lucky than others to get away. In my case, I got away. It's going on 3 years that I've been no contact with my family. I do want to advise you that it is very hard to do unless the person who is going through the abuse, unless they reach a breaking point. So before I do tell my story, I want to give all glory to the Most High. And I just want to ask the Holy Spirit to guide my tongue, clear my thoughts, and please let me be able to articulate my story in a way that's helpful to other people going through this abuse or other people who have escaped this abuse. We are not victims anymore. We are survivors. And you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Okay. So be it. So, the earliest memories I have of abuse started when I was real young. I'll say I could remember as early as 6 how I endured abuse at the hands of my mother. And during this time, like, I knew something was wrong, but when you're a child growing up in this type of toxic environment, you just learn to cope because the whole family, nobody's going to stand up and say that anything's wrong. When you're growing up in a narcissistic household, everybody gangs up, they have a sort of a fear for the narcissist. They don't want to feel the narcissist's wrath. And that could be, if your dad is a narcissist or your mom's a narcissist. Nobody wants to feel the wrath. It's not that they respect the narcissist. The narcissist thinks everybody respects them. When in reality, everybody's actually, they're fearful of the narcissist. They just want some peace. They don't want to go back and forth. So they may know that whatever the narcissist is doing to you is wrong. They will know that, but they don't, they don't want to get into it. They want peace, basically. I know that probably sounds kind of weird, but I'm pretty sure people who, been through this type of abuse can understand and relate to what I'm saying. So like I was saying, like, I can remember the abuse starting when I was as young as 6. And my mom, she was more of a matriarch, like a domineering matriarch, and like a, dictator. Whatever she said, go, and if you didn't think or feel the way that she thought or felt, it was a problem. And that's another thing with narcissists too. They don't like other people. They don't like people to think the way they think or talk the way they talk or feel the way they feel. The narcissist wants to control every aspect of you. So when you're a little child growing up in this type of family system, it really does stunt your development because the narcissist doesn't let the child have their own personality. The narcissist ends up taking the child's personality, and if they can't take the child's personality, they end up scapegoating the child. And in my case, I was scapegoated. Um, they either aim the children in this structure either become, golden children, um, people pleasers. One thing I noticed with my family system, um, a lot of my sisters, they're like people pleasers. Whatever you say go. They don't have their own mind. And but with me, I was scapegoated. So by me being scapegoated, I really was isolated a lot of my life. And my mom, she was very, dictating with me. But it's kind of funny when I sit and I think about it, and it's very hard for me to talk about this. The achievements that I did achieve when we were outside the house, she would, oh, look what my baby did, and I'm such a good parent, and she would brag to other people about how proud she was of me. But when it came to me and her talking to me and having a relationship with me, she always belittled me, put me down, and made me feel like I was less of a person. She didn't treat me like her daughter. She treated me like an object that she had control over. So from the time I was a young girl, I'd say by the age of 10, I was already basically broken. I would cry a lot. I was depressed a lot. And I really didn't understand why I felt so empty like I did. So, it really kind of destroyed me in a way, because I thought that maybe I didn't belong here. I thought maybe I was gonna die. I had this tremendous fear of death. I don't know where it came from. And I just felt like I was very unworthy to live. Like from an early age, I remember that. But now older and going no contact from my abusive mother, I realized that a lot of the feelings that I felt on the inside was the stuff that she was projecting onto me. So basically, whatever she was feeling on the inside, she put it on me to make me feel like that. Because the narcissist is the type of person that they're not going to do self-analyzation. They're not going to look within themselves. They're not going to, look in the mirror and say maybe something's wrong with me. They're going to fish out whoever they can to take away the shame that they're feeling on the inside of them. So basically, if the narcissist is telling you you're crazy, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're never going to be nothing, that's actually in reality how they feel. And growing up in this type of household, my mom would do that a lot to me. And it's like, looking back, it's so crazy, because how can you tell a 8 or 7 year old this type of stuff? Something's really wrong with you. And honestly, I think that people like this shouldn't even have children. What motivated me to talk about my story was seeing the strength in a lot of survivors of this abuse, and how they were so open and being honest about, spreading awareness to this abuse. Because whether we believe it or not, narcissism is an epidemic that's really sweeping the nation. A lot of people are going through this. And a lot of victims, instead of, reaching out to other people and try to tell other people their story, they end up becoming narcissists themselves. They end up becoming the same thing that they hate. So I feel like the Lord put on my spirit to tell my story so it could be therapy for me, so I can meet other victims who also went through this too. And I just really just want to provide, I just want the Lord to use me as a vessel to provide healing to as many people as I can. Because a lot of people don't, when you're growing up in this type of household, you don't realize that you're getting abused. Because the narcissist manipulates you from an early age. They basically program you. And that's why I feel I'm a strong advocate for no contact. If you're in this type of family system, the best thing you can do for yourself and for your soul safety is to go no contact. Because once you go no contact, that's when you can deprogram all this. Once you go no contact, that's when you can sit back, look at the past, and I guarantee you one thing for certain and two for sure, you're going to see the times where the narcissist really set you up for failure. You're going to see the times where they said smug comments. You're going to see the times where, if you remember their face in your head, how they just looked at you with complete, utter hate and envy. Like, you don't get it growing up, but once you get older and you try to really work on yourself and you really want to, analyze yourself and you really want to have healthy relationships with people, you're going to realize that you weren't sick, but the environment that you were in caused you to become sick. What led me to go no contact from my family of origin was an incident that happened to me in 2016. In 2016, my mother got me successfully transported to the psych ward. Now, during this time, I'm not even going to say I'm a saint. I was trying to really, look for what type of person I was. I was trying to look and see where I fit in. I was trying to look for something to fill the hole that I had in my soul, so to speak. I was engaging in heavy marijuana use, but my mental state was going further and further away from me. And during this time, I went to my mother for help and clarification, and she ended up getting me transferred to the psych ward. Now, I'm not mad that she did that, because I actually thank the Lord she did that, because it really showed me how sick she is, how damaged she is, and how if I keep having my family in my life, how it's gonna make my health basically deteriorate. So like I said, in 2016, I ended up in the insane asylum. And during this time, the Lord really was working with me, and I did a lot of self-analyzation with not only myself, but everything that I went through in my past and also in my childhood. So I had to walk down memory lane, so to speak. So during this time, I went to the psych ward and I got out. I got discharged. They did deem me not crazy. They just said I was overdoing the marijuana. And during this time of me, recuperating and get back on my feet, I ended up in my mother's house. Now, during this time, when I did go to my mother's house, that's when reality really hit me. My mother told everybody in the neighborhood that I was crazy and everything that I was going through. She had everybody in the neighborhood laughing and pointing at me. Instead of her protecting me as her daughter, she just really capitalized off of me and what I was going through. I walked outside and I overheard her on the phone telling people that I was, hearing things, I'm seeing stuff, I'm talking to people that wasn't there. They need to come pick me up and ship me off to another insane asylum in a different state. And when I went outside and I approached her and I said, who are you talking to, Mom? Like, what do you mean? She looked at me all spooked and stuff. She hurried up and hung up the phone. Like, she was trying to get me shipped off. And she was just really trying to, tell everybody how crazy I was. And I was really hurt during that time. But that's not the whipped cream and the cherry on top. During this time that I was in my mother's house, she kept talking about the funeral home. She kept talking about how I was going to die, basically. But I felt like, in my spirit during that time that she really wanted me to die. She really didn't want me here on this earth anymore. Like, she really wanted me to just either kill myself or die. I guess so she could use my death as the ultimate supply. And also during this time, I found a life insurance policy on me that she had on me that I didn't even know she had on me for $20,000. So She told everybody. So number one, she told everybody in the neighborhood I was crazy. My childhood neighborhood, how I was crazy. Everybody was laughing and pointing at me. Number two, she was on the phone with the people at the hospital trying to get me shipped off to a whole nother psych ward that was out of state to keep me longer, extended stay. Number three, she kept talking about death. And she wanted me basically how I wasn't going to survive, how I was going to die. She got to call the funeral home. And number four, that was the last straw. When I found the insurance policy that she had on me for $20,000. So when I found this insurance policy on me for $20,000, I really felt like maybe my mom wanted to sacrifice me for monetary gain. So I hurried up and gathered all my stuff and I left. I went back home. Now during this time, it was like I don't think she knew that I found the insurance policy, but with narcissists, they think by you being a scapegoat that you're stupid. Like they really think you're stupid. But in reality, it's really the narcissist that's stupid because the more and more they talk, the more and more they really telling themselves. So all the snide comments she was telling me, I was basically putting two and two together. Like I'm in more danger here than I am in psych ward. I'm better off at the psych ward, basically. So I ended up going back home, and I was really in denial about the whole episode of how my mom acted. I really was in denial. So I ended up losing my job because, I was really I was at the point in my life, during this time, I was at the point where I was trying to get my mental self, together again. I was trying to, get myself back together after my mental breakdown. So during this time, I didn't have any money. I didn't have no resources. I didn't have nothing in my savings account. And as society always tells you, you can always depend on your mom. If you don't, if you don't have no friends, you don't have nothing, you can always depend on your mama. You only get one mama. Honor thy mother, thy father, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up calling my mom, and I'm sure a lot of people who went through this type of abuse know that when you have to ask the narcissist for help, that's like a last resort. I mean, it's a last resort, basically. You really don't have no other options. So I had to hype myself up and amp myself up. So I called her and I asked her to borrow $40. And the way she was talking on the phone, she was just talking with such like aggravation. And mind you, it's been a week since, my whole episode. She's never called me. She's never texted me. She never came to come visit me. She really didn't give a damn about me. But I didn't bring that up to her. So I asked her to borrow the $40. And when I went to her job to go pick it up, the Lord put in my spirit, He was like, look at her face. And when I looked at my mother's face, her face just looked so evil. She just had this frown and she just looked so evil. And I was like, no, is something wrong? Like, why is she so mad? And the Lord He kept telling me, look at her. Look how evil she looked. And it really looked like a demon was about to pop out my mom's face. And she was just so mad, so aggravated. She threw the money in my hand. And once I left her job that day, going down the street, I told myself, I said, I'm going to give her money back. And after that, I'm going no contact. I had enough. I felt the Lord telling me if I was to keep being in contact with this woman, I was going to have more episodes of being in the psych ward. Because all my mom was going to do is she was going to use my psych ward episode against me, deem me crazy to everybody in the family, discredit me so that I cannot tell nobody the truth about her, keep holding this incident over my head. And she was just really just going to make me, ashamed of going through what I went through. So I just felt like it was better for me, health wise, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to just to leave her alone, because I know growing up with her in the past that she uses the past. That's the main that's the main narcissist tool of weapon of choice is the past. They love to throw the past in your face. And I'm not, I know I'm not perfect, but but instead of her being there for me like a mother should have, she really demonized me and really exploited me. She did. She really exploited me. And I felt like she did something that's unforgivable. You don't do that to your child. You're supposed to provide love, warmth, and comfort. She didn't do none of that. If anything, the only thing she showed me was her true colors and how she truly is, how truly messed up she is as a person. How evil, conniving, deceitful, manipulative, crazy she is. What type of mother hates their own daughter? What type of father, like, what type of people that's so demonic to me? It really is, and I would never understand it. I don't want to understand it because I know that's something that's evil, and there's no use in telling people what you went through suffering narcissistic abuse because they're not going to understand it, especially if they came from a loving mom and dad. They're not going to understand what you went through. They're going to tell you, oh, well, they just ignorant, or they don't know no better, or, your mom or daddy love you. And it's like, bro, no. When I finally had my epiphany and the Lord put on my heart and He revealed to me over the years how she was methodically just doing stuff to really sabotage me and get me to leave this earth. Like she been wanting me to kill myself and she wanted me to die and she been wanting to, me to be deemed as crazy so she could just, use that as supply to everybody who will listen to her. It's sad. That's why I went no contact. I can't do it. And a lot of people who may be going through this right now, we have to go no contact. And if you're not old enough to go no contact, you got to do what you got to do. But one thing I think is good is for you to have the moment that I decided to go no contact, I felt the Lord put in my spirit. He told me, it's clear as day. He said, I can't serve two gods. I'll love one or hate the other. He said, what fellowship does light have with darkness? And I feel like my mom, she really wanted me to make her my God. And I feel like I couldn't have a relationship with the Most High if I was still involved with my family. Because the type of family system that the scapegoat is in, it's a sad family structure. It's a very twisted environment. The scapegoat never gets no validation. The scapegoat is the only one who's willing to stand up. The scapegoat is the only one who's willing to really die for truth. You're the only one willing to die for truth. I'm not ashamed of what I went through. I thank the Most High. I give all glory and praise to Christ. I'm so glad I went through what I went through. Because if He wants me to tell my story and my experiences on this type of abuse to free other people, if He wants to use me as a vessel, I'm fine with that. There is glory, not only in my story, but in your story too. When you go through this type of abuse and you do go no contact, the moment I went no contact, I felt free. I felt like I could breathe again. I could be myself. I don't have to worry about, these people in my life messing my life up or monitoring me or every time I want to do something, talking down on it or telling me I'm incapable of doing it. I felt great going no contact. And I feel like that was the only way for me to become the person that the Most High intended me to be, was going no contact. Because actually, the Lord reveals to me that my family doesn't know me. They don't know me. They only know the image that my abusive, narcissistic mother placed on me. And I'll let you in on a little secret too. The narcissist is actually jealous. They're jealous of the scapegoat. And it's not because you have a lot of money or you have a nice car, you have pretty hair, or your body's on point. It's just because they're jealous of your spirit. They see the drive in you. They see the determination in you. They see the courage in you. So I just want to thank you for listening to my story. I will be telling more of my story. I just wanted to, really have a opener of me and what I've been through so you could get the gist of, where I'm going with my channel. And I just want to let you know that don't let nobody discourage you for doing what you feel is right in your own spirit. If the Lord is guiding you to cut the head off the snake, cut the head off the snake. Don't cut the tail off. Because honestly, truth does hurt at first. It hurted me at first, but freedom ensures lasting results. And I'm finally able to feel like I am somebody. I want to be the person that the Most High intended me to be. And I feel like He wants all His children to be the people that He intended them to be. We all have a job to do here. So I just want to thank you for listening to my story. Thanks for listening to me talk, to vent. I'll be telling more stories. Please like, please comment, subscribe if you want to. Comment and give me some feedback on what you think. Tell me your story. I want to hear your story. So this is Danielle, and I have been divinely delivered. Thank you and have a blessed day. Until next time.